What's up, everybody? BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. Today, I want to talk about E3. Now, I know I had previously mentioned that I think these hype shows are kind of overrated and everything, but for the most part, they do give us a chance to kind of glimpse into a future of video gaming. And I'll have to say I'm kind of 50-50 on it right now, to be completely honest with you. I see a lot of stuff that I really like. I also see a lot of stuff that I think kind of bodes very poorly for the future of the gaming industry. And so it could go one of two ways, you know. But we're going to focus on two different aspects. This first video is going to be what I really liked about E3, who I think the big winners are. And then the next video will be kind of what I think is meh at best. Or maybe I kind of just want to see more of before I give like an official opinion. So we're going to try and not hate on too much stuff in that video. That's why we're going to focus on the good stuff now. Before we do get started, I do just want to mention, if you saw it on Twitter, IGN posted a poll where apparently everybody said that Xbox had the best E3 campaign presentation. Second came in Nintendo. I couldn't disagree with that even more. And it will kind of get into the reasons why later, but I did just want to say, like, again, these polls, who knows who takes these polls? They're a lot like E3 hype shows. You don't know who takes them. They could have been just a bunch of Xbox fanboys, and nobody from Nintendo's camp bothered to even take the poll, or maybe didn't know that they were being taken. On the flip side of that, PlayStation, for the second time in a row, didn't even bother to show up. They did their own PlayStation thing, which, in a sense, actually makes more sense to me, because then you can kind of focus on making the games and just announce them through your social media platforms that everybody has, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. And you don't have this, like, oh my god, I have to show the greatest stuff ever moment. You know what I mean? You can kind of release it on your own terms. So again, don't take too much, take too much stock into these E3 hypes or these polls that are done to tell you who is the winner and who's not. They're completely irrelevant in most sense of the word, and they can be completely skewed in favor of one thing or another, regardless of the actual outcome of said events. So before we get on to that, I will say the big winner for me was actually Nintendo. Well, from software, but again, we'll get into that in a minute. I prefer Nintendo over Xbox. I think it was a hands down knockout. So don't be too discouraged if you liked what Nintendo had to say and not so much Xbox. Don't be discouraged when you see all these Xbox was infinitely better than Nintendo, because it's all bunk. But needless to say, let's jump right into it. These are the biggest winners from E3, in my opinion. Who I did think the biggest winner of the day was. And it's hard to say this because they're such a small company. They do like one game every 5 to 10 years. But that is one of my favorite companies, From Software, and the release of Elden Ring. At least the teaser for Elden Ring. You got to see some gameplay, you got to see some cutscene footage. It looks phenomenal. It's easily the most ambitious From Software game in the company's history. And the fact that they teamed up with George R.R. Martin to create the world kind of gives it more of that like mythical lore that people have come to know and love. From the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne franchises. Now, it could kind of ruin it a little bit if they delve into a lot more story and lore. It might take away from the fact that, part of the beauty of the Dark Souls, the Soulsborne games, is because there's so much loose-ended theory behind the lore. But I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I think this might be the most fleshed out story, and I think the game is going to be better because of that. but it looks super ambitious. It looks right along the lines of what you would expect from a From Software game, with more of it. And anytime you can get more From Software, it's phenomenal. Every game they've released has been better. So you got the original Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2 was Obsidian, so we'll kind of throw that one on the back burner. But you got Dark Souls, you got Dark Souls 3, and you've got Bloodborne, you've got Sekiro, Demon Souls from way back in the day, which actually might be the best one. The remaster is phenomenal. If you get a chance, play the Demon Souls remaster, because it's an amazing game. But Sekiro is probably my favorite of any of them right now, and maybe ever. And I know I was the Dark Souls 1 is the best one, hands down, blah blah blah, for the longest time, but they keep getting better. They keep finding ways to improve on their mechanics. They keep finding ways to expand the world, and so I'm super excited for the Elden Ring, and I think that was easily the biggest winner of the day. Now, I know you can't really consider From Software the big winner, because all these other companies had like 5-6 games that they announced, but in my opinion, I think Elden Ring is the big winner of the day. Next in line would be Nintendo, and I feel like I say this every year after E3, because Nintendo really does take these hype shows super seriously. They use it as an opportunity to announce basically their whole lineup for the next 4 or 5 years. And this year was no different. They just came out with a bunch of heavy hitters. So some of the smaller things, you got a new Tekken character, Kazumi Mashima is coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate. Life is Strange Remastered and Life is Strange True Colors, the new one, are coming to Nintendo Switch. That's a big deal, in my opinion, because it proves that they're willing to, again, expand their third-party connections. Considering Life is Strange is from Square Enix, maybe we get another Final Fantasy collaboration between the two, and I can only hope that the future bodes well for both of those options. You've got Hyrule Age of Calamity's got DLC coming out, but more importantly, they have announced Breath of the Wild 2, and you got our first trailer. Now, it's a loose-ended 2022 release, so we'll see when it actually does come out, but I mean, it looks like it picks up right where the first game left off. You've got new move sets. Instead of it just being this like little dial thing, looks like an iPhone. Like Link's got this whole arm sleeve now, where he can cause things to do multiple motions. Looks like he can like sort of like kind of teleport through things if he wants to, and it looks phenomenal. Breath of the Wild is easily the most ambitious Zelda game. I can argue back and forth whether it's the best one, but it's definitely the most ambitious, looks the best, runs the best, and so this sequel should only be better. And then, to everybody's surprise, they announced Metroid Dread. Metroid 4, that everybody's been waiting for like 20 years, is finally coming to fruition. Now, they say it's the last one, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's the last Metroid game we got. But what I love about this more than anything is they went back to that old school 2D platformer style. Yes, it looks fantastic. Yes, it looks like it's got some cutscenes when you upgrade your gear, get a new ability, maybe come across a boss or whatnot. But I love the fact that they kept it this 2D platformer game, and it looks phenomenal. So I cannot wait to see more of that. I know it's like right around the corner. October 21st, I think, is or maybe it was October 2021, but I'm pretty sure it's this upcoming October that this game gets released, and so I can't wait to see more of that. Just behind Nintendo would be Square Enix, probably my arguably favorite company on the planet right now. I think now that Bethesda's kind of fallen off a little bit and sold themselves out, I would probably put Square Enix as the #1 game developing company on the planet right now. They had a few smaller announcements, The Guardians of the Galaxy game looks pretty good. It got a much better reception than Marvel's Avengers Ultimate Alliance, I think is what it's called. And so I think many people, one, kind of eventually gave Marvel its chance, Avengers its chance, and realized that it's not as bad as most people thought it was going to be. And two, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy are probably better characters to play as. So that was pretty cool. They speaking of Marvel's Avengers, they announced the Black Panther addition to it, so he's going to be a playable character in that game now. And then more importantly, oh well, we've got the Life is Strange stuff, but we already knew about that. But more importantly, the announcements of their continuation for their love of the Final Fantasy franchise. They also finally threw out a trailer for Stranger of Paradise, the Team Ninja Square Enix team up. It's a reimagining of the original Final Fantasy with the Warriors of Light heading into the Temple of Chaos to defeat Chaos. Now, because it's Team Ninja, everybody keeps comparing it to this Dark Souls game. It does have Dark Souls aesthetics, and we haven't seen anything about the character development, so it might be more like Neo, Dark Souls kind of stat categories as opposed to ability upgrades. But I actually kind of got more of a God of War 4 vibe from this game, where you have the animated death scenes and whatnot. They grab them and they rip their head off, or they take their sword and then slow motion smash overhead type of stuff. I got much more of a God of War feel to it. But obviously, I mean, everybody compares everything to Dark Souls now. So Team Ninja to Neo and Neo 2. So obviously everybody's going to compare it to Dark Souls. But I just wanted people to be aware that to me, it seems more like God of War than Dark Souls. Either way, it looks phenomenal. I love those kind of action adventure RPG type games. God of War was fantastic. One of my I think it was number 2. One of my top 5 favorite games that we played that year. If you go back into the old top 5s. And I'm very, very excited for this one. Thank you guys so much for listening, and if you liked what I saw, do me that favor, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell so you know when I do drop that new video about the meh at best. If you disagreed with me, hit the comments below, let me know where you disagreed with me. If you just want to get into the conversation, hit those comments up, tell me what you liked, what you thought I missed. Tell me what you think I was completely right on. I always like confirmation bias. I always like to know I'm right. But either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me wishing YouTube, that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. If you are having a wonderful watching time, please hit that sub button. Head on over to Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow me over there at BigSweetC as well. Either way, sweetness. Signing off. Peace.